Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Viewers of Gundam TV online, welcome to another episode of Brufut Land Injustice. This one specific topic is spectre of landlessness. Today, this is originally Davy, but today I have Prof. Conte on the show to help us divulge the real issues facing the people of Congo, especially when it comes to land issues. So, Dave, you are the owner of this program, so I'll let Dr. Kunti initially to introduce himself, then I will let David come. But before that, this week you've seen Mr. Jawara narrated this audio. This again involves swaths of land, big one, around the Combo East area, which is Dr. Conte's area. So it seems now the coastal road maybe is exhausted, so they are now in the east, heading to the forest. This would make it even more urgent for the people of Combo to come to their senses and take this land issues very seriously. And I think also it's about time, we start considering legal action whereby the entire Combo can rally, behind our families in Combo, which are struggling to fight against these so-called powerful elites who conspire with the former regime criminals to take unlawfully the lands of the people of Congo. Thank you. Prof. Conte, welcome to this forum.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you briefly introduce yourself to the viewers?
Well, I'm Dr. Lamin Conte, and I was born in Pirang, Berending, because most people don't know Berending. They always say Pirang. Even at the main junction is Berending. Pirang is all the way inside. And my father was from Farawa Banta, and I teach here in the United States accounting and finance. And you rightfully said something, yesterday I prepared a list of what we call expropriation by the government that was written by Ami Bensouda and Halok Farm. And you'll be surprised, I even have the Brufut layout here. And so Combo is now where they are going. And I will tell you how many hectares they took away from private owners that was customary to the government without compensation. And as you said, again, the land issue in Pirang, is very disturbing. Actually, the land issue is in Berending, but the gentleman who got that land, it was very shady in a way. The previous owner, we don't even know who actually owned what. So he's been talking about this for the longest time, and so yes, you're right. It is going to come to Combo East, and after they exhaust all the land there, they're going to be going to Fonyi. So we should stand up. But I have a laundry list of items here, and it's very disturbing, So do you want me to go ahead with it, or?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, first of all, it says here that according to Ami Bensouda law company or law firm.
We can hear you.
According to Ami Bensouda, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Can you let David introduce himself? And also
okay, Dave, go ahead and introduce yourself.
A background history of this program. Then we will.
Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah, all right, thank you so much, Mr. Majan. Thank you, Dr. Conte. I didn't think I needed any more introductions anymore, but there's a format we have to follow, I suppose. Yeah, I'm DF Mane, Lamin DF Mane. I'm from Brufut. I live in the UK. I've been very what's it called, engaged in the land issues in Brufut, but specifically what they call Kajabon farms, or which they now call Brufut Gardens. Yeah, so I've been on this case since it started. I was in the UK then, and then I learned about what was happening to our people back home. And since then, I've just been on this process. It's been a journey, and I think very soon we should come to the end of it very soon. I am very confident about that. So, but we just for today, we'll speak about the spectre of landlessness in Combo, because I think this is very real, and I think our people need to be reminded maybe they don't think this is they don't take it too seriously. But I think we need to make concerted effort, work with like the VDCs or the civic association or civic groups back home in Combo specifically, and even some lawyers to help make our people understand the danger we face, the next generation, even this generation. So I think today's theme was going to be based on the specter of landlessness, but we're going to have a free flow. Dr. Kote, obviously, like he said, he got some, some interesting documents or you would like to share with us, and we're very, very welcome to that. So we say welcome and to joining us today on a Saturday morning. This is your first Saturday, well, afternoon for us anyway in the UK, but it's morning for you, so which makes it all the more special, and we're very grateful to you. Thank you.
Okay, so what we have here, they call it, according to Amy Bensuda's law firm, this research was done in 2017. I remember Amy stated, that the Gambia has 10,694 square miles of land. And this was seven years ago. Now, the transfer of expropriated land to private interest / public. The UTG campus in Farababanta, it was customary, meaning owned by private citizens. The government took 8.29 hectares of land, which is about 0.8029 kilomiles. Selaji is the second, which was converted to residential, 895 residential plots. And they took away 44.75 hectares. The Alatentu layout, these were the compounds that were taken by the Post Authority in Banjul for port expansion. I want you to know that the people of Banjul received cash and other compensations when they moved about 34 compounds to Kachikali. They call it Alatentu layout. The Brikama Kabafita private land was converted, expropriated into residential, and it was 36.48 hectares. In Nemasu layout, they took they got about 399 residential plots, and the total hectares expropriated from private citizens was 29.92 hectares. Coastal Road layout, it was customary owned. They had 322 residential plots, and the total hectares taken away was 19.32. Now Brufut Heights, customary, owned by private citizens, 165 residential plots, and they expropriated 15.98 hectares. I'm going to send this to you all. You don't have to write that. I'll email it to you all. Canifing industrial layout. So you notice that with the exception of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, we are all in Combo precisely. If Bakau is classified as Combo St. Mary, of course, we are the same. But going down the list, you look at Bigelow. Customary land was expropriated and 5.95 hectares. Jabang layout, private land was expropriated for industrial use without compensation, 5.04 hectares. Fucho Lect layout, it was freehold, They claim it to be state land, converted to commercial, but then they had what? Residential plots. There are 19 of them. The total hectares was 3.9, almost 4 hectares. Mandinaring industrial layout, they took out 3.9 hectares, expropriated. Now we get down to Brikama industrial layout. All this is in Kombo. 3.8 hectares. Bijilo institutional layout, they claim that to be industrial, but I bet if you go out there now, private citizens are living there. 3.4 hectares. We look at Old Joswang layout, freehold state land, expropriated for residential, 65 residential plots, 2.48 hectares. Kachikali layout in Bakau, freehold, they claim it to be state land, but they do have 62 residential plots. That was, again, 2.48 hectares. Bijilo Annex, customary land, they claim it to be industrial, but they have 40 residential plots. They expropriated 2.3 hectares. Bijilo again, Annex C, customary. They claim it to be industrial, but it's now used by 21, they have 21 residential plots, and they took away 1.57 hectares. And again, the last one we have on the list is Half Die. That was for port expansion. But according to the research by Ami Bensouda, Slow Farm, these people were compensated with cash. Even before they even started, they paid them. So the research says that the Selaji layout was demarcated in 2003, and we don't want to hear anyone say, well, they can say whatever they want to say, that it was not during Barrow's time, but it's still the government of the Gambia. That they had wanted to provide housing. Yes, we have no problem if you're going to provide housing. But what I don't understand here is according to the research, that the people who own those land, they were even compensated only few plots to live in. But this is my argument here. Lease. When you lease something, we have a lessor and leasee. So if you lease someone, if the lessor leases someone to a lessee, it's either you pay out the amount outright, which technically speaking can also be over the life of the lease. According to the research here, you know, you all have heard the government saying that, the Gambia government saying that they can lease land from you for 99 years. But according to this research, they could not find any document to attest or affirm or can find any records on the 99-year deal that they did with these landowners. So basically, I'm assuming that the lands taken away from our people assume to be a lease for 99 years is not in existence. All of us here grew up on the farm, and I know that you went to the rice fields to bring bales of rice from for your mother or your grandmother. So if we look at Brufut Heights, for instance, before the Brufut Heights came into being, There were people out there in Brufut who were farming on that land. Do we know every single year how much their harvest was, whether it was in terms of groundnut or rice? So now if you take that land, expropriate that land, because the word expropriation is no longer in existence. It used to be in the 1960s and 1970s. When governments come in, they take over private industries and try to make it their own. Venezuela tried to do that. But in this century, we as citizens of the Gambia, I think the word expropriation should not even be used, because it's totally in contrast to our capitalist beliefs. So not only that, if, for instance, you who live in Brufut, how will your people be able to afford to buy a bag of rice or any other essentials when their private lands are taken away from them and then sold by the government? It says here in the article.
Yeah, Doctor, that would be a good point to hold it there. I'll bring in Dave, to comment.
Okay, good.
In translation, but you bring very, very, very tangible evidences that the people of Bunjul have to take notes. And we have a commentator, Bubambai Bojang, from South Korea. He said the scrambling and partitioning of Kombo must stop. We've got to cater for our future unborn generations. They've all got a stake in this land, and government must be seen to be fair. So, Dave, you hear the presentation from Prof. Conte. What's your take on that?
Yeah, thank you, Professor Conte. Yes, I've read that article before, the documentation. Yeah, but naturally, I was much more concerned about the issue in Brufut, so I did glance through the rest of them. So, like you mentioned, Brufut Heights. Obviously, Brufut Heights was part of the TDA, and then we did speak about how the TDA came into being here on the first episode. The history behind it, the accidental, how Gambia even became a tourist destination. We covered that in the initial initial episode. The TDA, like Dr. Kante also said, and it was written by Ami. It is intriguing that the lease that was signed will have been expired this year. The first lease actually was for 51 years. Now, this year will have been the end of that lease. But in 1992, for some reason, the lease was mysteriously, nobody knows, extended to 99 years. But then, still then, that 99 years will have been completed in another 49 years or so from today. So, yes, we are aware, and we know the government was just trying their luck with us. And then, because they didn't have anybody to counter them, from a communal point of view, or like a concerted combo effort. So they got away with murder for a very, very long time. So obviously, our plans are myself. Probably will be an individual case, but the plan all along is like somebody will start the ball rolling, and then we can have like class action lawsuits. My issue with Mustafa Njah specifically because land can be very divisive. I know that, but for the tactics for me to use was to go for what belongs to my father and his father. My father, my grandfather's brother, and their children, my uncles. So I think that would be a very, very good start. And we are making progress on this. Lots of people thinking when you're going to go to court. I'm in no rush to go to court, really. I'm trying to engage the Gambians in a court of public opinion. I'm trying to make Gambians to sit back and then dig deep into their conscience to ask themselves one question: how could it be possible? How could it be accepted that a community, we call ourselves a country, that communities of thousands of people can be robbed of their inheritance and give it to an individual to inherit himself? And if you look into the genesis of it, this is a man who had no money, Mustafa Njah, by the way. So he used people's inheritance. This lands in Yundum and Brufut, we have to always try to remember that Yundum was actually the first victim. Those lands were what he used as sorties, securities, to get mortgages from South Africa and other investors. So if you think about it, this is a man who had no money at all and using people's inheritance through Jammeh's corruption and ineptitude and, misrule. Just gave him other people's land. That's what he used as security to make himself very, very wealthy. So fundamentally, if you go down to it, this man had nothing. He's actually absolutely owes nothing in Combo. He is who he is today because of us, because of our inheritance. So that's why it's fundamentally very, very unjust, and we're going to fight it. And then it's no secret about this. I make this very, very clear. For us, every publicity is good publicity. It's not bad publicity for us, because we're trying to force a national conversation out of this. And I'm very, very deliberate about this, and I made it very clear from the very onset. It's no secret about it. I'm trying to get Gambians to confront the fact that happened, that out of, if we have to compare the injustice in the Gambia, the only thing comparable we can say on a level lower to the murder, the arbitrary killing of people in the Gambia is this inheritance of a Kombonkas of their land. There's no bigger crime than that. The only crime bigger than that, like I said, is people losing their lives. So the Gambia have to have a day of reckoning of people who have lost their inheritance, and we're gonna do that. We'll force them. And luckily for us, you can even bypass the Gambian courts completely. You can go to ECOWAS. Yeah, like the journalists did with the Ajami. They didn't go to Gambian courts, they went straight to ECOWAS. You can bypass them completely. We have that. So we have lots of means and avenues to actually get legal redress. And we will go there. But like I said, right now, my purpose, my central focus right now is to try and get people in Gambia, specifically Kombonkas, to understand what's happened. That, I'm trying to let them understand that there are people who have been disinherited and they are about to fight. But even more than that, they want Gambians to sit back and ask themselves a question. How can we accept this? How can we accept one individual to disinherit and impoverish thousands of communities just for his own benefit and his personal benefit and his family, immediate family, and some, some business partners? How can that be just? How can Gambians accept this? So it's a moral question we want to force them to have to face and answer. So that's what this public, coming on TV, on social media. I don't do social media. I left it a long time ago. But I think it's important we come here, because on top of that, there's also a narrative. A certain narrative that's have been gaining common currency in the Gambia. This Mustafa Njai is a self-made man, came from nowhere, is very, very wealthy, and is benevolent, is giving his wealth. It's nothing further from the truth. You wouldn't find a bigger crook in the Gambia than Mustafa Njai. There's no bigger crook in the Gambia you'll find more than Mustafa Njai. So I was saying the other day, I said the motto should be, instead of saying like a tough global Africa corporation, whatever it is, like tough global Africa thievery. Really, that's what it is. And we will counter Mustafa Njai. Like I said, that is never a problem for me. We'll contact. We'll check. We'll have a day of reckoning on this man. If he thinks that we're going to the Gambia, it's got a surprise coming his way very, very soon. But it's no rush there. I don't want to repeat this so many times. The purpose of being on here today specifically is to make our people aware that there's a spectre, and it's very, very near us. It's very, very close by, that our people will be homeless. They'll have nowhere to live. Yeah, they will be going to people like Mustafa Njai and other, land prospectors or land vultures, what people call them, building properties in Komboa. They will be going there to actually try to rent, and they wouldn't be even able to afford rent. So if you can imagine injustice, the land the houses are built on belongs to you. Yeah, that land was taken from you without any compensation. Structures have been built on that land, and you don't have a place to live. You don't even have money to live on that structure, and it's built on a land that belongs to you. So this is what we're trying to force our people to face. We're trying to force them to try and consider this. Don't think that this is a very, very long prospect. It's not very, very far away from where we are right now. So we need to try keep hammering this message on. I think I'll give the floor back to Mr. Manjak, and maybe Dr. Conte can chip in. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Something come up which I think we all need to sit and strategize. How do we challenge that? That is the lease document for the TDA, which Dave, you say is supposed to expire this year anyway, but for some reason it was extended. And if you are going around that and you see Tourism Development Board erecting billboards, please be aware of TDA. But the sad part of the TDA, in between, you see also this geology department giving lancing for people to go and mine. So you don't even, it's confusion. They will go directly to the farmers, families, give them token compensation, which is not even regularized. And they will come and mine these places. But again, where is the legal basis of this TDA? Now that you said it's expired or it disappeared somewhere, I heard about it, nobody knows where it is. What can we do, as people of Congo, so we can challenge this together. Before I return back to Dr. Conte, Farmer Adrame is saying, well, Dave, spot on, we are proud of you.
Ah.
That's from Farmer Adrame, yeah. So, Prof. Conte, what is your take on it?
Okay, let's go back to TAF because when I looked at this research, I did not see anything relative to Brufut Heights. I didn't see any comment on the layouts that are in Yundum. So I think I need to do a follow up to see whether the acreage or the hectares of land for Bruceby. I want to comment also on another thing, that was interesting. And I also need to make sure that we engage on that. If the University of the Gambia is going to claim to have 800.8 kilometers of kilomiles of land, we should try to see whether TAF is going to be allocated land there so that he can create another community. Because what TAF tried to do, he went to Basori. Actually, he did not go by himself. He sent some of his agents. And when they went to Basori, they told the late Alcalo, who died about 3 weeks ago, that they were going to bring a company from Spain to do some farming there. And TAF actually looked at the 3 kilometers between Pirang and Basori. So the Basori people were going to try to sell that to TAF. It was the Pirang people who stood up and said, well, this area belongs to us. And they went to the chief. And rightfully, the chief, ruled in favor of the people of Pirang. So what TAF did again, he went to Pirang VDC, and he used his UDP connection. Yes, UDP is involved in this. He used his UDP connection to try to get some of the VDC members, who majority of them are UDP, to sell that land, to sell the land to them for 17.2 million. So when the folks approached the villagers, it was one gentleman who objected, and then his friend also came to support him on that measure. And what the UDP VDC in Pirang, and I will say it again, they told the people that, oh well, you don't have enough votes. So what the two men did was they went out to the Alcalos and presented their case to the Alcalo to say that 1 kilomiles of land, we can allocate about so many compounds, and then if we sell them, we would earn about 30-something million Gambian dollars as opposed to the 15. Remember, TAF was going to buy this for 17.2 million. But what was presented to the villagers was 15.2 million. So which means that the VDC, UDP dominated, they were going to pocket the 2.2 million. So now what the villagers have decided to do is that if anyone who was born in Pirang, your mother is from Pirang, your father or uncle or whatever, they are inviting people to apply to buy the plot of land. So by doing that, they can get their target. And I think this is one area that we need to think about, because then you may be able to do some form of agriculture. But TAF invariably, in my view, is trying very hard in Combo is to find somewhere where he can create another estate. And unfortunately, what is happening, when you approach the Alcalo or the chief, they are scared to talk because if they oppose whatever the government wants, it's scared that they're going to remove them from either their chieftaincy or their alcaldoship. So these are issues that I think we need to confront and we need to talk about, because this is so frightening for a university to come to take about 0.8 kilomiles of land. Well, I teach at the university here. It is not more than 0.8 kilomiles. So why would the University of the Gambia claim such land without compensation? And these things have happened, and it says here, let me just explain something to you. It says that when it came to the Gambia Ports Authority, and we all know that the Gambia Ports Authority is owned by the government of the Gambia. So they should not use any excuse to say, well, the Gambia Ports Authority paid for it. But the Gambia Ports Authority is subsidized by the government of the Gambia. It's a state-owned enterprise. Therefore, the government of the Gambia owns the Gambia Ports Authority. So the people in Banjul were compensated. It's a compensation was paid in both cash and in kind. Cash compensations were paid for the development on the properties based on their values, whilst the Kachikale layout was created in Cape Point in Bakau. So these are issues. So again, when it comes to people who are close to the government, they get more advantage over our people. But again, if you look at Gambia's size of 10,564 square miles of land, with all these hectares of land taken, and we're talking about 7 years ago when this research was done. And you talked about the tourism development area. This is one area that I think we in Kombo, we have to make that as our campaign tool. We don't care what political party you belong to. In my view, anyone who comes in here as a politician, I want you to address the issues of TDA, because the TDA was created in 1970. They gave the list number P14/1997 and P18/1970. And it says that from the high sea all the way 800 meters is a tourism development area. And guess what? It says from Kololi Point all the way to Alahin River, which is Kartong. So now tell me this. If your family owns any of the areas there and they are taken away from you, what I would like to know is about converting, because when you talk about lease, the person that you expropriate the stuff from should be compensated, but our people are not compensated. So now you know that in Brufut or anywhere around your area, Sukuta, they don't have any farmland anymore, no rice land anymore. So I think we should begin this conversation with the government by saying that our people should be compensated monthly. So Dave, I guess you may have to do some research to see whether any of the areas taken away from the people of Brufut, even 5-6 years ago, whether they were compensated. And if they were not compensated, we should try now to engage our people, because I think when you bring this political stuff to them, they're not gonna understand you. But when you tell them that, okay, Mansakunda ko Kabobato, Kata Kadum Brufut, Keme sei mitanying, iko Mansakunda tality. So no matter la dulati, ataloka duoko kejedum before. So sai Mansakunda wo tatolo bulu, Allah farolo, Allah kunkol, Albe kodo soro nyade purka Allah family in feed. I think these are things that we should try to resonate to our people. Honest to God, if you talk to an average person from Brufut, I'm telling you, they're going to understand you. You can't go, so say, Faroman Soto, Kunkuman Soto, Atoroman Nakol Fang Soto. Don't worry about Kalanyadile. Masakunda yin kenolta ya talabulu, itade ya waf. And yes, when Yankuba Ture was Minister of Local Government, He sold a lot of land. It says here in the research that the minister of local government has a power individually to sell land, and this is why we see all these things going on in our country. So again, I'm not trying to speak against anyone buying land in a fair manner. I have no objection to that. But when you see government coming in to demarcate areas as tourism development area, and then you deprive the citizens that even if you use eminent domain, you should at least compensate the poor farmers. So we are talking about generations and generations and generations, and so this is why we're gonna create poverty in our area, and we're gonna have food insecurity, because if you were farming on those on the plots of land that the government has confiscated from you, how are you going to be able to feed yourself? And let's be realistic here. For some of us who are in diaspora, yes, we have the opportunity to send money to our people to feed them. But I want to ask you, your children, our children's children, will they be able to have that sense of orientation to even think about sending money to their distant relatives in the Gambia? So this circle of dependency is going to stop somewhere. And what's going to happen in the Gambia, we're going to have continued poverty. But yes, I join every single person, every fair-minded Gambian, because if they exhaust all the land in Kombo, guess what they're going to try to go to? They're going to go to Fonyi. And that is why we cannot talk about Kombo without including Fonyi. And I'm telling you also, Barrow just went to Nyomi to lay a foundation on what I don't know. But I can tell you, if you are from Nyomi, if you have any family member from Nyomi, I think we should caution them. Because if they exhaust land in Kombo East, all they have to do is take the ferry and go to Nyomi and start doing the same thing there. So we cannot sit down here and don't say anything, because our people, even to access this data through the internet, is very hard in the Gambia. Some people cannot even open a Word document, much more so a PDF file. So these are things that we need to engage each other to see whether we can find a common ground. I am of the belief, that we need to do some grassroots education to our people, going from compound to compound, even if we have to use WhatsApp, and somebody going to some people's compounds and talking to them, say, we are fighting your war. Because someone told me that a gentleman, an elderly person in Sukuta, who was promised compensation, either by land or money, and until he died, the old man died because of depression. And then that some of these real estate agents, what they do to our poor people, when they go normally, what will they do? If you're going to sell something for $2 million, they normally will not give you cash right away. They're probably going to bring an old vehicle, and the vehicle that you can drive maybe for 6 months, and then it breaks down. And then when you come back to get part of the remaining balance of your money, the people in the office, they know the old man is coming, or the old woman is coming, or family members are coming. The person who actually was a real estate agent who did the deal with you promised to compensate you. Usually when they come to their offices, you can hear people will tell you horrible stories. You go in there, guess what's going to happen? They will hide. They will tell you that Amantarajan, naked feet, and so forth. So the old man comes back and forth, or the old woman goes back and forth until they exhaust. There are so many horrible issues here. We don't have any regulation on real estate, and rightfully, Almame Fandental talked about that. But I disagree that only Kombonkas are the ones selling land. Even if we sell our land, we should also try to educate our people, because I myself, I'm going through the same thing too. I had to stand up to a family member to say, no, that's not going to happen, because we cannot look for instant gratification in the Gambia. Only if you sell land right now, they give you $200,000, $500,000. Tell me within 6 months that money is going to go. So our people, we should also try to educate our people. And these are things that we have to talk about. Finally, what I'm trying to say here is that any politician who comes in here, I don't care who you are, you have to tell us where your party's manifesto stands on Komboland issue. I cannot believe the biggest political party in the Gambia, UDP, since 2018, they are trying to finish their manifesto. Come on. If somebody, I wrote a dissertation to get my doctorate degree, and I'm telling you, every single month or every single week you get up, even if you do 2 sentences, you should be able to finish it. I don't think any of us should accept a political party's point of view to tell us that, oh, we are in the process of doing this. No, we want you to give us the answer today. And if not, and I even think that we need to get a candidate from Kombo to run as president, because if we do that, these people will know where we stand. I am of the belief that if Halifa had been nominated to be the president of the Gambia, we would not be in this problem, because DOI seems to be a political party, in my view, that can really bring us fairness in governance. So I know Dave is very happy about it, but Gambians are not understanding that, and I don't get it. But now what's going on, is things are getting tough in our country. But for us who are from Kombo, people who understand the plight of Kombonkas, I think we also rally together to ensure that the government cannot expropriate land without compensation. And we need to have record of what we have left and what was taken. So I'm going to stop right here and allow you all to be part of the panel discussion. Are you all there?
Yeah. Mr. Banja, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
No, we can't hear you, sir.
Okay.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay, what I say, let's concentrate on our strategies, how we can counter this land injustice facing Kombo. Is Kombo that is legally, they say, well, legally, Kombo lands belongs to the states, and this is what is happened to the people of Kombo. So if they want to go to Fonyi or Nyomi, they have to come with similar kind of legislation. For now, who are affected is the people of Kombo. So how we can counter to make sure that that bad law is repealed from our law books, that should be our focus. And how can we educate our people to be aware of what we are facing? That is the spectre of landlessness. So I want Dave to have on that. I'm going to drop for 5 minutes, but Dave, you can continue. I will join you in a minute.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Manja. Dr. Conte, thank you, as always. I'm going to try and share a screen.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I don't know if you can see it.
Not yet.
Is it showing
Okay.
Coming up, it's loading. Wow.
I can see it from my end.
Yeah.
Let me change this slide, actually.
Yeah,
One
it's
second.
clear.
Sometimes this thing kind of struggles a little bit, so that's why we don't like to... Yeah, but can you see it now, yeah?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
All right. I'm doing this for a reason, because this 800 meters from the high water mark is actually a joke. It's all a con, really. If you can see the arrows I've created here, I don't know if you can see them in colors. So in some places, like if you use for example, Brufut Ganatan, can you see the arrow there from the high water mark to, let's say, Brufut Ganatan? Can you see the arrow?
Is that on the left or right?
On the left. Can you see? Hold on.
Yeah.
I don't know where my pen is. Actually, I got like a stylus pen. I can interactive, but my daughter, I think she took it away again.
Okay.
So I got a stylus pen somewhere.
So is that the one on the left of the screen?
What can you see on the screen? Can you see the big picture?
I can see the ocean. I can see the arrows, the shorter ones, and then that's a long one on the right.
Okay, that very long one on the right. So that you can never call that 800 meters from the high water mark. Yeah. And then now if you go further, you see it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So this all meant to be 800 meters from the high water mark. So it's a con, really. Yeah. So never pay any attention to it. They don't even pay attention to this TDA anyway. TDA, number one, I think is something fundamental we need to understand. We lease our land to the government. It doesn't mean the government owns the land, number one. Yeah. So any changes, any alteration to that lease, they have to come to us to ask. But they have not been doing that. I mean, the impression about the TDA is in the Gambia that actually the government owns the land, but it's not. It's just been leased to them. And like I said, I mean, you mentioned 1970. Actually, the original one was 1969. But before they finish all the formalities, they call it 1970, but it's 1969. That's when the TDA started. It's originally for 51 years, never forget that. But in 1992, whatever happens, they said, okay, this lease will increase to 99 years. Okay, fine. But you need to understand a lease doesn't mean you own this land. You don't own the land. We lease it to you, it's still ours. The ownership still remains ours. We retain the ownership, we just listen it to you. But anyway, going back to where you said we didn't see Mustafa Njai's, what's it called, this estate in Yundum and Brufut in the report. This is, again, goes to his political, what's it called, connections in the Gambia. So Ami Bensouda didn't cover those. I think they should have been covered, but he didn't see them there. So Brufut Heights, by the way, is completely different from where Mustafa Njai is built on. So I'm going to show you another screen in a minute.
Wow.
Okay. Can you see now?
Yeah.
Okay. This is, can you see, it's 11.106091 meters square. So 11 square kilometers. That's what the government is taking from the people of Brufut. So this includes Brufut Heights. You can see Brufut Heights on the other side there. Yeah, Brufut Heights is actually can you see Brufut Heights? Brufut Heights is 3.93 square kilometers in total distance. And next to it is a place called the Astrasa Field. And this is where the Brufut people and the government are having a massive showdown now, because we got 1.83 square kilometers, which Brufut, the youth in Brufut wanted to use this as a sports facility. And then the government wanted to take this away from them. So the people are actually putting their foot down. So this is Brufut Heights on the other side, as you can see. This is where Mustafa Njai is taken. So as you can see, that is 2.72 square kilometers in total. Then next to it, you have the presidential villa. The presidential villa is 1.45 square kilometers. So altogether, it's you can say roughly nearly 4 square kilometers. That's what the prime estate, that's what's been taken from Brufut people. But then again, if I go up to this 800 meters from the high water mark, where I always give that is a con, and nobody should ever believe it, this high water mark, you will see, if you see the big, what's it called, from right supermarket, what's it called, to this mini market, you can see, and Chosan restaurant. If you just follow the coastal road, you see the distance from the high water mark to there. Then if you come to where, let's say, Mustafa Njai is, you can see it says coastal road here. You can see the what they call Embassy of Turkey. Embassy of Turkey is actually in Brufut Heights, you want to call it that. So you can see the con there. This 800 meters from the high water mark is just a con. It's just basically a tactic they've been using our people to take our land away, to steal our land, and there has been no concerted effort to fight them back. And that's what we'll have to do. So you can see the amount of injustice, the amount of land that's been taken from people in Brufut. Like I said, if you add the Brufut Gardens, the AU Villa, and Brufut Heights, if you add them all together, and we don't basically include the La Branda Hotel, the hotel, what you call the 5-star hotel, because that's an agreement, that's TDA. So that's not contested anyway. But if we add all this land in Brufut, 11 square kilometers, Brufut is the most expensive real estate in the Gambia. So this place is like 35 by 40 meters square, can go for $40,000. So $40,000 for 30 meters by 40 meters. Now think about 11,000 or 11 square kilometers. How much would that be in monetary terms? So this is the amount of money they've taken from Brufut. That's what they've stolen from Brufut people, and they've given it to other to people to enrich themselves, and they come with this kind of the TDA. And you mentioned Yankuba. I think Yankuba was very instrumental person in the stealing of Brufut, Brufut Heights, and then he was Minister of Lands, as you rightly said, and he took lots of massive swaths of this land to sell them off. So where does the TDA come from? Where the lease agreement come in now? So the lease is for 51 years originally. Okay, it's extended to 99 years. We actually contest that anyway. And then I also want to make something very, very clear to you, and this is very important. Our people didn't care about what 800 meters means. For them, there's a natural line of demarcation. The natural line of demarcation was the Brufut Costa, was the Kombonkas Road. This is the gravel road, which actually predates this what we have there, the tar road now. So for them, the natural line of demarcation, the 800 meters or 1,000 meters or 2,000 meters didn't make any sense to them. Their agreement with Jawara's people is like, this is a line of demarcation. Any land on this side towards the sea, we will lease to you. Any land on this side of the road towards the town, we're going to keep. And that's always been the understanding. So this 800 meters, our people don't agree with it, because I've spoken to elders back home. It just came from nowhere. Yeah. So that's why the initial, when we did the first episode, I went into historical background of this. That's how we had people like Yaya Sise. He was the Minister of Lands then. He was very Machiavellian in this. So this 800 meters, this specific meterage came from him. But the people of Kombo, especially Brufut, we gave them the natural line of demarcation is the road. Yeah. Any land towards the sea from the side of the road, the government can release it to you. All the lands on this side towards the town, it belongs to us. We don't want to listen to you. It's been very, very clear. So this 800 meters is just nonsense, really. It's just an excuse. We need to move away from it. So that's what I wanted to say on that. But then you were giving us the history. Let me stop sharing this now. You were talking about how Mustafa Njai is now moving to Eastern Kombo. I always want us to remember how Mustafa Njai is able to have the wealth to move to other parts of Kombo. And this is the injustice, and this is where Kombo people need to rally together. Because his lands in Brufut and Yundum, which he used as sorties, if you understand what I'm saying. The lands in Brufut and Yundum are the sorties and securities that he used to secure, loans and mortgages from South Africa and other places for Brufut specifically for $5 million. Okay? So from that money, he was able to build his wealth. Yeah? And from this wealth, now Mustafa Njai is rich enough to try to spread out into the rest of Kombo. So what we're going to have in a generation, or even this generation, is like Mustafa Njai will own most of Kombo than Kombonkas. Yeah? And the root of that wealth is stolen money, is Kombo people's inheritance. So it's Yundum, people from Yundum and people from Brufut, their inheritance, that is what is making this man rich. So it's used two communities in Brufut of their natural, their inheritance, enrich himself, now is expanding into Kombo. So that's why Kombo people need to look at Mustafa Njai very carefully. That is one of the most dangerous people. It's a great danger to Kombonkas, Mustafa Njai, as an individual. It's a great danger to our people. It's very, very, very important we emphasize this. We need to understand this. Mustafa Njai is a very, very great threat and danger to Kombonkas, because his wealth is built on stolen property, stolen inheritance, and based on it, he had the foundation from it to try to expand to the rest of Kombo. He went to Gunju. He bought about 5 square kilometers from people in Gunju. He went to Jambanjeli. Now he's in the east. And I can also tell you one thing our people don't understand. The land they have, let's say, for example, in Brufut or Yundu, yeah, the land is taken from the Brufut people. If Brufut people were able to concertedly create, if they can set up even a CAFO, even like a SECO, and using their land as sorties, they can go on their own capacity to South Africa, and they'll get funding to build on their own property. They can do this. They can have a cooperative. So Mustafa Njai that's what he used, because all he had was just the land. The land is the most important, the most expensive commodity there. That's what he used as a sortie. So people in Piram, like you were saying, the UDPs and they are all in there. Mustafa Njai will go with any party because he has one interest, that's his self-interest. Everything is just incidental to Mustafa Njai. Everything is incidental. So he will be with Yahya Jammeh as long as he advances his cause. Yeah? Even if we have a murderer, if Idi Amin, we had the incarnation of Idi Amin in the Gambia today, Mustafa Njai will be his friend, because Mustafa Njai is driven. Yeah? He has one particular focus of how to make himself rich and his family behind him forever, while disempowering and impoverishing other people. Yeah? But your people can have a collective. They can make a cooperative. They can use their land as a sortie. They can go to South Africa and the World Bank and African Development Bank in Abidjan, and they can even become their own estate agents. Yeah. So this is where educating our people come into. I don't like to keep this conversation long because it's a dialogue. You don't want to always take over, but I think it's always important we also try to understand what is happening here, because we've been trying so hard to try and get a moratorium in the Gambia. Okay, this moratorium in the Gambia, even if it's going to be for 6 months or 1 year, at least it give everybody a breather. But the government is not too keen on it because we got vested interest. And I have to mention this in passing. And I know Tambedu is not many people's cup of tea in the Gambia right now. But I only met the guy once, and then you have to give the devil his due. When I met him in London, we had a conversation, and this was a lot of people were there. Barrow was there, Lawyer Dabo was there, even Mustafa Njai was in there in this meeting. I took him to one side, and I swear to Allah, this guy gave me his undivided attention for 5 minutes. I ran on about the land in Brufut. He told me, you know what, we're going to have a land commission. Don't worry. He said, it's different from the Janet Commission. The land commission will come. He said, Janet Commission doesn't include Mustafa Njai in the Brufut issue, but the land commission will include that. It will be included. So don't worry. I said, okay. So we have to give the devil his due. For 5 minutes, he gave me his undivided attention. That's the first time I ever met him. And he gave me that he gave me that promise that it will happen. But there is a problem here, because the commission, the members of that commission, Combo people need to object, because there are people central in that committee right now as we stand. Commission like Raymond Sok. I don't know me as a person, but it's a guy there called Bubabari. Bubabari was very central in the land theft in Combo. The lands in Brufut and the lands in Yundum. So to have personalities as him as members of that commission is very problematic. But we have not got there yet. So my open letter to Dabo earlier on this year was like trying to force him into this conversation that, look, we know we are watching, so we need to try and actually change the mechanism of how actually commissions are set up. Because right now, the mechanism for setting up commissions is only the purview of the president. So the minister, the parliamentarians have got nothing in it. They got no say. So the government can just individually just say, I select so and so as a chairman of the commission, and he can also select his members of the commission. So that is not very fair. So that's what's going to be our next step. So, but we need to try a moratorium in Combo to stop all sales of land. And I spoke about the cadastral survey. The cadastral survey and land registry will help us to know who owns what land, where, and how. Importantly, how. Because if you go to Brufut Heights right now, lots of people who own land there, how did they get those lands? Most of them are lawyers. And what happened to our people in Combo? They've lost twice or 3 times. Because when they go to court, they'll take a lawyer. And how do they pay the lawyer? With land. So the law cases never win. They never, always what happens like they withdraw the court cases, the lawyers never serve them, but the lawyers keep their land. So people keep on losing 3 times. They have a falling out among themselves. They withdraw the court case and they don't get their land back. The injustice is so unbelievable. And when it comes to the State Land Act as well, the State Land Act as it is actually not very bad. It's just been misapplied to us, our people, right? It's just been misapplied. So it's misapplication. That's what has been happening. And because, again, it comes to our people not countering them. Yeah. But the State Land Act as it is, if you read it, I'm not a lawyer, but I've spoken to people who are lawyers. I'm happy to name them here. And they told me the State Land Act as it is currently has just been misapplied. That's what it is. It's just been misapplied. So we have to try and fight that as well. So anyway, I don't want to keep this conversation very long, but what I want to say to you is the people in Pirang, they don't just sell their land. If they set up a cooperative, they can go to African Development Bank or they can go to Celta Afrique. Celta Afrique is part of the UN Habitat. Yeah, they just have to do a proposal, get architects. They can build their own estates there, and it will belong to them, and they can own it forever. They don't need Mustafa Njai to come to them. So our people have that. They have that. They just haven't used it yet because they don't know. Okay. Thank you so much. I think I'll let you continue on, Mr. Manjan. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you address all the time anyway. We are 2 minutes behind the time now, but you have to answer this question. And I think if you can use this opportunity to extend invitation to him, we've been trying to get him. He said, hello, hello, Manjan, Conte and Dave. Have you had any response from the open letter you wrote to our politicians? Sorry, I've been following lately. I think Dave can answer that quickly, and then I would let Dr. Conte close the program till next week.
Mr. Vaja, I know this is like unusual, but if you don't mind, if we can continue a little bit longer, do you mind?
Okay, no problem. I can go to half past 6, 1.5 hours. No problem.
Okay, because we don't have, if you don't mind at all. Mr. Boyd, Thank you. The letter writing exercise, it was actually not intended for them to reply to me. It would have been nice for them to reply, but it wasn't. I'm trying to force a national conversation. So for me, it's all publicity, really, because I'm trying to get people like you with conscience to understand and come. And just, yeah, of course, I'm asking you to come and stand by me, because I believe you and I trust you, and because I've dealt with you during the fighting, trying to fight the dictatorship through our times in the, what's it called, Gambia Post and Gambia L. So I'm making no, I'm not hiding the fact that I'm asking on Gambians, consensus Gambians, to stand by me to say what is happening is wrong. But just writing letters to them, like even Barrow, which Kombo Iwaka did, and to Lawyer Dabu, put them in the public domain. For me, I have only what I'm doing on for that. The primary reason for that is trying to get a national conversation out of this. Yeah, I did actually, even though I did send a letter to him in the what's it called, in the papers published, I actually hand delivered it to him as well. So people went there into his office and he took delivery of it. Mr. Hussein Odabo, he did. Yeah. So we've also been talking to some other what's it called, politicians. Even Syria of Doi, I'm happy to say here, he's going to look into this and he's going to mention it. I think he actually tried to discuss it last week because of other things happening. And now I've got MPs also from the Jammeh's party, would you believe it or not, who also think that yeah, they think this is wrong and they will look into it. They're also happy to table this stuff in Parliament. So those are people I'm happy to mention their name because they don't have any problem with it. They're happy for me to mention their name. Syria of Doi and even Amunyasi from what's it called, from what's it called, yeah, Jammeh's party. So we are making a lot of moves in what they call in the background as well. You know, there's a lot of things that we say here, a lot of other things we're doing as well. So we'll get there somehow. We'll get there. But Mustafa India as a person is not a concern to me. Like I said, my bigger picture, my bigger aim and ambition is to try to get Kombonkas very aware, also to get the Gambians to force them into national conversation. Mustafa Ndiaye's Day of Reckoning, that's coming very, very soon. I mean, we can bypass the whole of the Gambian court, like I said. We got the ECOWAS court. You can bypass them. There's always already a legal precedent for that anyway. So it's all over the place. I mean, even today, I don't know if you saw the news from Abidjan, from Ivory Coast. Ouattara and Soro, the African court in Tanzania and Arusha told them that they can stand in parliament in elections in Ivory Coast. So there's a lot of recourse to law in Africa. There's lots of recourse to law now. So if Gambian justice system doesn't work for you, you don't even have to go through the Gambian legal system, by the way. Yeah, the ECOWAS court system gives you the right to actually bypass them completely. So you can just go to ECOWAS. And if you're not happy in ECOWAS, you can move to Abuja. So it's a lot of stuff to do. So Mustafa Ndiaye has an individual doesn't give me sleepless nights. I am actually trying to awaken our people to the danger that guy is. He's a predator. Yeah, he's a predator. So they are prospecting for land. The land Mustafa Ndiaye is buying for now is Pirang other places. It's not for now. Because he knows the value is going to be rise exponentially. And these lands he builds on and sells properties to people, he doesn't sell them on freehold. He sells this land to them on leasehold. So can you imagine injustice? He takes land from people on freehold, like in Brufut and Indom as an example, but the houses built on them, they are sold on leasehold. This guy is criminal. Yeah. So you got the whole mechanism, you got the whole judiciary, if you want to call it, the whole government system in Uganda helping him because he's not been exposed. So that's why we need to expose this guy, that he's a danger to Kombonkas. Yeah. I also wanted to mention, you mentioned Nyomi. Yes, Nyomi, some part of Nyomi is also part of the TDA, by the way. But nobody's moved there, but they're also part of the TDA. Because I'm from Brufut, but my mom's side of people, they're from Bakau, Sonko Kunda, Jani Kunda, they're also from Nyomi. So I've also got a stake in that. So I've been very aware. I've been speaking to my people in Nyomi, my mom's side of the family, for them to be very, very aware. Because where they come from an island. You know, that island is very, very, it's got a lot of, what's it called? Yeah. Anyway, I think I'll stop here for now. Mr. Conte want to chip in. Thank you.
Yeah,
I just want to.
Yeah, just before I give Dr. Conte the platform to talk, now we have 22 minutes exactly for the extension. That's fine with me. Yeah, Mr. Mori Olimbo, we really want you to come to this platform. Me and Dave, we talk about this, but. If you can drop us your WhatsApp contact, we'll get you. We'll send you a proper invitation because, as Dave said, we want this to be a national conversation. That's what we started here. Yes, these politicians, Lawyer Daw actually respond publicly, his own opinion that the law actually might not be that bad, but it's misapplied, and it's very fair to the people of Congo. Yeah, he said that to be fair to him. But then we have the spokesman of UDP here on Monday. He didn't do very well. Maybe he done research. He probably undone all the encouragement Lawyer Dawo give to the people of Congo. If you have time, you go and watch that program. It's interesting. At some point, I thought he was going to work out, but we managed to coax him to stay. I will wait from Ibrahim Jane. Finally, Dr. Conte will come on. Guys, what about our government selling lands to foreigners? Example, Chinese. Gambians are going to be foreigners in their own land. This trend is increasing exponentially. Yes, this is something also we are not talking about. And not only to the Chinese, actually, the Indians started buying Gambian lands before the Chinese. In fact, right now, there is a community in, I don't know, I can't remember the regions who are at loggerhead with the Indians because they promised them that they will build them houses that they can use their land. But, they've been using their lands, I think, for 5-10 years now. They went back on their promises on the houses they can provide for them. So they are at a standstill. So this is something also we have to bring, to these conversations sometimes around the world. More again, Dave, thank you very much for the response. Indeed, I was thinking of the amplification and forcing a national debate on this issue. You are right, Honorable Silva, that didn't mention the land issue during these past week sittings. Yeah, thank you very much for letting us know. Yeah, Dr. Conte, you can proceed. Thank you.
Well, I just have questions, and if we can, because I disagree that the law is fair. I disagree with Usaino Dabo because he tries to retrieve to the law that they've created. If we have land law in the Gambia, how come expropriation is used? Expropriation, in my view, was used by dictatorships, communist countries. Why do we still have expropriation in the Gambia, where a government can come and take your land without compensation? I also want, can I just stop at that question, and then if you can answer it then, because I have another question for Dave.
Yeah, so Dave, you hear the question?
Yes. I think there are two issues here. I mean, nationally, like you said, just saying that Combo land belongs to the state. There are some qualifications in it. There are qualifications. I've spoken to lawyers who are actually Kombonka natives themselves, and they also mentioned that the law has been misapplied. I mean, but fundamentally, we actually have to disagree with the law anyway, because we think that it's very problematic. We think it's actually what's it called? It puts at a massive disadvantage. You cannot just call my inheritance, because that's what these lands are. Fundamentally, they are somebody's inheritance. You cannot just declare that it belongs to the state while the rest of the country theirs belongs to them. But I mean, there are points of law here, and then I think I'm always very, very careful because I'm not a lawyer. Yes, I do speak to lawyers, and I also try and read as much as possible. But there are finer points of the law whereby it's very, very difficult for me to try to analyze it. Or if I can read it, I might be very good at analytics because of my profession. But I'm also not a lawyer, so I need to be very careful here. But when it comes to Mr. Tal, Mr. Tal, to be fair to Mr. Tal, I reached out to him actually. I first reached out to him just to clear the air that the little misunderstanding we had about the word wasn't actually. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to him. It's just a misunderstanding. And he did tell me that his position is actually that of the party's position. So what Lawyer Dabo actually said in public, that the state lands act would need to be looked into. That's Mr. Tal's position as well. He mentioned that to me. He said it to me in private, but I don't think he'll have any problem with me sharing that with the public. He did say that to me. Yeah, he said it. He sent me a private text message after the show. Like I said, I reached out to him to say, look, I'm so, things got heated up a little bit, but there was no disrespect intended. And then he actually told me, okay, my position anyway, maybe because of the misunderstanding and the communication styles, but I want to reiterate to you that my position is exactly that of my party. So So he, what Dabo said in public, that's what Mr. Fall also said. So I think I'm very happy with that. Yes. It's an unfortunate situation what happened because I think he conflated his own personal opinion and that of the party. So his role on that day was to be the spokesperson of the party, but he's just an individual. He's just a human being like the rest of us. So we do make mistakes. So I think we can forgive him for that. And then I will take them at their word. I mean, like I said, I don't trust anybody when it comes to the land issue in Combo, by the way. I can tell you that I don't trust anybody when it comes to the land issue until we have to have a cadastral survey, we have to have a moratorium, we have to have a land registry, and we also have to have a land commission, which is inclusive. And at the center of that table, at the high table, have to be sat Combo people, because we are the people at the receiving end of this injustice. So you cannot have a land commission excluding us. We have to be there. We have to be very central to the land commission. Thank you.
Well, again, in my view, I don't think the people of Combo should wait for UDP to come up with its manifesto. We have been waiting. We waited for 32 years on the Sadauda, and we don't want any promises. If you're going to set up a government and you are the biggest political party, you should have the maturity to tell Gambians or Kombonkas what you really stand for. I know that I wasn't there, but I know that Usienu and Almamital met, and he was spoon-fed to tell us what. Because I listened to Usienu's speech, and it was almost natural that they were almost the same verbatim-wise that Almami Fandintal said. I said, Kombonka, no, I don't think we should wait for UDP to tell us or promise us what they're going to do. They have to tell us what they can do right now. Let's not wait. Another area, the question that I have for you is the hotel that you mentioned. The hotel that you mentioned.
Sorry, you said you were not there, but Mr. Tal admitted, during his response that, he met with lawyer that before he
Thank you.
He confirmed that in his response that he will come. He spoke to the party leader and he's okay, and they are ready. So he don't go into the detail what they discussed, but he confirmed to us that he actually speak to the party leader and he think it's okay for him to come. So
what makes you think that Usainu has Combo's interest when they had the opportunity to select a cabinet, not a single Kombonka was selected? That would be another topic of discussion.
Yeah,
but as far as I'm concerned, Kombonkas or Gambians should not wait for UDP to win election and then tell us what they stand for. They should tell us right now. I am very curious about the hotel location that you talked about, the hotel you named. I didn't write it down. So the land was leased to the hotel, correct?
Okay, 1 second.
Was it leased to the hotel or TDA?
No. The land, this is called the Sheraton 5-star, but I think it's got another name now. That whole land is a TDA. Like I said, our people, the agreement with Jawara is like we had a natural line of demarcation, if you want to call it that. Is a road, the old Combo Coastal Road. This one predates the one we currently have. This was the gravel road. So the agreement was like any land towards the sea from that side of the road is TDA. We agreed with them, that's TDA. So this other side towards the town, that wasn't part of the TDA. So yeah, the Sheraton Hotel is built where it is. It's in the lease land for TDA, so there's no problem there at all.
Yeah, but when we talk about lease, this is what it confuses me as an accountant. So you're going to lease something to someone without compensation, without even getting periodic payments from them. That's what baffles me.
Yeah, I do understand where it comes from. So the thing is like, this is why we have to renegotiate these agreements. All combo issues need to be renegotiated, because you got to understand in those days, some of our people are they're not very familiar with what's going on, really. So whatever, because Jawara was a monster to them. Jawara is a monster. And don't also forget, there are people very instrumental in Combo for Jawara to be the first president of the Gambia. So if Jawara came to those people asking for a favor, it would be very, very difficult for them to say no. So that's why in the first episode, I also covered this. We had Machiavellians. The Combo people were, betrayed. They went, they thought they are doing their bit for the Gambia as a recently independent country, which showed no means of economic, how can it sustain economically? And therefore they're doing their bit. And we had people like, as he said, then he was in the Minister of Lands and others who actually used this to exploit and to take and steal from their land from them. So when it comes to the land of demarcation, natural land of demarcation being the road, and now we have this argument of like 800 meters from the high water mark. 800 meters from the high water mark is nothing. It means nothing to our people, because you don't have to be a geologist or anybody who knows the coastal, how the coast works, so to know that the coast erodes. So 800 meters from the high water mark in 1970 is not 800 meters from the high water mark today. So it wouldn't make any sense. So you can say even our parents, our grandparents didn't sit in the classroom, but they were sensible enough to know that no, whatever meter you have, it doesn't matter to us. There's already a natural line of demarcation. We want to stick to this natural line of demarcation. So this 800 meters is a con. It's all a con. So really don't worry about it. So I think I need to emphasize this again. When it comes to the finer points of law, I think it's very risky for us to try to interpret the law, because it's very difficult. All I know that the state land is an injustice. We have to fight that. So we got lawyers who are Kombonkas, and other lawyers, people who are not even Kombonkas. Because what happened is an injustice. They will come down. I think they will come on board and they'll help us try and correct this. But what we're doing here right now, we're not waiting for Lawyer Dabo. My operator to Lawyer Dabo actually to put him on the spot. He said you will do this, but you are actually already your party is the biggest. What's it called? Make the biggest block of MPs in the House of Parliament. So why don't you just try introduce laws now? Why wait until you ascend to the throne in the Gambia? So that's the essence of that's the whole essence of the letter. Yeah, it's just to ask him. You don't have to wait. Do it now. But Kombonkas are not waiting for politicians. Like I said, I'm very, very clear on what I'm doing with these discussions going in public. I'm trying to enrage our people, actually, emotional, to make them enraged to know what is happening. So when it comes to the rest of the country, I'm trying to ask them to sit back and let them dig deep inside their conscience to see, is this right? Don't we, as a community, as a country, as fellow citizens, which we call ourselves as a community, can't we do something about this? So that's what this is. So I'm very deliberate what I'm doing here, really.
So, but what I want to know is that see, they kept on talking about the law. We all can read and write, but we are not going to interpret the law. Where can we find what they said is the law? Where?
Okay. When it comes to the TDA, I mean, the funny thing is the TDA list is actually disappeared. It's no physical copy of the TDA list. Yeah.
Okay. So the lawyers.
So this TDA, the government keep on talking about, is disappeared. If you read the Journal Commission, we discussed all of this here anyway the other time. I think episode 2. If you read Journal Commission, I don't know which page it was. Sorry, there's a page there somewhere. I don't know if I can take a quick look. He mentioned that nobody could find this TDA list. Yeah, the TDA list is disappeared. Yeah, the registrar of the Gambia courts, or whatever you call them, our government registrar, the custodians of all our important documents, they couldn't find the TDA list. It's disappeared conveniently. So because they know what they're doing.
So which means that the 99-year lease
it's illegal. It doesn't even stand anywhere because it's not there.
It doesn't stand.
No, of course not.
Okay. And then how about the land tenure law? Where can we find the land tenure law or laws that we can read but we are not going to interpret? Where can we find?
I got some. I can send you, which have been passed to me by other lawyers. But if you can also speak to Lyman J. Dabo, he's got volumes of them at home. So that's
but this is what baffles me about the Gambia. Why would lawyers be the only ones to have access to law?
Citizens
are affected.
No, I think it comes down to our people not being proactive, like you and I. We are now. So like I went home and spent 1 month there trying to get the documents out. So I think that's what it is. So it comes to people like us taking our own initiative, getting these documents and publishing them online for other people to access.
So will you be able to? Are they? I know that you will not. Are they? If they are in PDF file, will you be able to get those for interested people so that we can read this? Because we don't want to misrepresent ideas. We want to be objective in our deliberation. I think that will give us a good favor, and I'll be more than happy to be part of this panel discussion on Saturdays permitting, because I don't think we can wait a long time, because I want to read what is in there.
Yeah,
I'm not going to interpret it. I just want to know.
Yeah, most of the lawyers have got this copy. Even your nephew, even your nephew's got a copy in Seattle.
Yeah, Prof. Conte, I think it's just that people were not interested in these laws. It doesn't mean only lawyers have access to it. I think if you requested for it, you will find it.
You get it.
What we are doing now, we are setting a pace here because Gambians were not been, nobody challenged even government to courts. These are some of the opportunities we have, but nobody was using them.
Okay.
So it starts here. We'll encourage other group also to get up and challenge, the government. Then the government will start respecting the citizens. But we cannot just say, okay, nothing will come out of it and you just hold your hands. No. Because the likes of that, they were behind Yajam. As long as it's there, nobody's going to challenge it. But the whole Gambia come and rally behind each other and get rid of the dictator. So this is an opportunity for people to take what rightly belongs to them, through legal means. And that's what this platform is all about, is to galvanize the nation, to start a conversation, so, people can be encouraged, they can see the loopholes which the government was exploiting against them, and unscrupulous businesses like Mr. Panjabi and others like him, and even Yankuba Ture, because this Brufut land issue, Yankuba Ture was at the center of all of it. He still has sorts of land in that area. If he's not in prison, he would have been selling them still, with obscene amount of money. This guy is from Badibu, is not even originally from Badibu, he's a Malian. He's only his dad. Yeah, so this is the issue here. It's tough that people were not doing anything. But now we have people who have education, they travel, they know the value of land, and they know how to challenge government. Governments are not untouchable. As David said, our forefathers, the Jawara is a mansa. That's what people, all generations believe in Gunjo. You can't do anything about. That's not true. So those are the issues we try to demystify and encourage the population to take. So we have 5 minutes. I will let Prof. Conte land, and Dave can close this program.
Well, this one I'm going to try to pass it on to you. What I just want to suggest again is that I want to suggest a meeting that we can formulate ideas, because Dave has brought something, and equally so, Mr. Manja. We've been talking, but I think we need to apply what we stand for. And maybe if I talk to you after our meeting to see where we can strategize to meet off air and then formulate some ideas, and let's work together to have a blueprint and make that presentation. But again, I want to thank each and every one of you for giving me the opportunity to come here. We are talking about coexistence. So in a sense, that what we are saying here is that we want our people to be treated fairly. I want to remind you all, that years ago, there was plenty of land in Bakau where people went farming. Women went to the rice fields. Women had gardens. And now if you go to Bakau, especially the old Bakau town, you will be equally frustrated in terms of, particularly when it rains and the gutter system and all those things there. What you saw when you were going to high school, we still have the same. I just want to caution Gambians that if we continue to build more residential plots and taking away arable land, we are going to face food insecurity. And for us who are here in the United States, or diaspora anywhere, England, you name it, Germany, Poland, Norway, you have the means to send to your people to feed them. But how about 20 years from now, when you retire, who is going to take care of you? Who is going to take care of your family members? We have to engage our people also that they cannot be selling land. Yes, Almame Fandental was right. Some of our people, yes, they do sell land. If you look at the dispute that is going on in Pirang, it's a testament. Farmers are selling land everywhere because they are poor. But maybe sometimes we also have to be able to engage them. Another one area that I want to reiterate that Dave said, let's try to have some kind of consortium whereby when we see anyone predator that's coming in to buy land and cut it into pieces, small little plots of land to sell, because Taft actually told our people in Pirang that he was going to develop the land and then sell it. And an elderly man got upset. So if you mention Taft's name in Pirang, the old people don't want to hear it. Taft, I can assure you, only has a small little of plot in Faraba Manokang, but he doesn't have any plot in Pirang. But I'm afraid the 800 hectares of land that the University of the Gambia is claiming to have will allocate part of the acreage to Taft, and there will be another estate in our area. So let's work together, engage each other. Let's be civil in our discussion, because at least we are fortunate to be in diaspora. But our people who are in the Gambia, they don't have the opportunity. So this is collective engagement, and we hope that we can uplift our people. For far too long, since 1960, when Sadada was the head minister, we Kombonkas have been taken for granted. And we cannot be out there when it comes to politics to be campaigning for them. And when they win, they kick us to the back. And that's what we normally experience. So I stop right here.
Yeah, Prof, before you conclude, can you just mention these lease types, maybe in a couple of minutes, and the difference?
What? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I was talking to Mr. Manja, and I was kind of, as an accountant, when you go into lease an item, because if we look at the International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS, or the Generally Accepted Accounting Standards, we have mainly two types of leases. We have what we call a capital lease. We also have operating lease. An operating lease basically is you are renting a piece of property from someone, and you are actually recording an expense every time you make a payment. But then if you have a capital lease, you get the property as if it belongs to you, but you have a liability. So you will be recording your capital lease as an asset, but you're also going to be recording a liability as a credit. So you're going to make periodic payments on the lease until the end of the lease term. But then at the end of the lease term, they do have some kind of mechanisms that can make you be able to buy that property that you were leasing at a favorable price. But so when we talk about freehold, leasehold, whatever they're talking about, that is all part of the capital lease. But again, this is the problem we have in the Gambia, and they have not fully explained to our citizens how lease should be. So basically what is happening is that in the Gambia, if we follow the International Financial Reporting Standards, then there is no fairness here. Because if you go in to lease an item from someone, that person should be compensated, whether you're going to compensate them entirely, give them a bulk of the money at one time, or you're going to be making them periodic payments over the life of the lease. So if then that is the case, one can assume that it's going to be a capital lease. But I went through the lease agreements. All I saw was freehold, leasehold, and so forth, and I just don't get it. So yes, in repeating, when we talk about leasing, we have two types of leases, meaning that you're going to have an operating lease. It's just like you are renting from someone. That person has right. Even though you have right to use the property, but the person has ownership to the property.
Can I interject? In Gambia, we have freehold and leasehold. This is what is causing the confusion.
Okay. Well, okay, so those types are on the capital list.
Okay.
They are on the capital list.
Okay. So
they are on the capital list, but so which means that when you buy this stuff, okay, freehold. It said that we have two, right? Freehold and what?
Leasehold.
And leasehold. So
leasehold.
So the freehold. Which one? Which one is more supreme?
Freehold. You own it forever.
You own it forever. So you own it forever. So do you have compensation for it?
Oh, when you sell it, yeah. But that's the conversation we are having on the that's what's it called, the Kombo worker for, where we need to educate our people about selling the land. Don't sell your land, but if you're so desperate to sell your land, sell it on leasehold. Don't sell it on freehold. Leasehold, that's like TDA. The TDA was 51 years. Then it went to 99 years.
Yeah.
Most leases in the Gambia by default are 99 years anyway. So, but you can, if Mustafa Njai comes to you and you're very desperate, I wouldn't sell the man a donkey. But if you're very desperate, you want to sell land to Mustafa Njai, give him 51 years. Either take it or not, but give him leasehold for 51 years. So the land he's going to build on, the land belongs to you. The ownership of the land never moves away, but the building belongs to him. So at the end of the 51 years, he have to decide what he wants to do with the building. He either take the building off or whatever, or you go into another agreement again, another lease. But the land belongs to you. So our people are not very aware of this. That's where we need to help them. Work with the VDCs in the Gambia and some lawyers like Lawyer Dabo, Lawyer Fati, and others to help our people to say, if you need to sell your land, know that you have got options. Don't sell your land on freehold to anybody. Sell it on leasehold and tell them you only want to sell for 51 years anyway. You have a right to sell it for 51 years. But then normally our maximum free is 99 years. That's by default. Most of them are 99 years in the Gambia.
So basically this year that's capital lease, because what you are saying is when you lease it to the person, at the end of the lease term, it kicks back to you. You only have temporary use for the lease. But there is one area that I'm very concerned about. So if you have a freehold and you lease something for 51 years or 99 years, at the inception when they give you the bulk of the money, how long will that last you? That is my concern. I would rather you pay me periodically, that every month or every year, at least I have some money to feed my family. I bet if you do research on most of the lands that were sold on freehold, I bet within 6 months, 9 months, or even a year, all the money is gone. So you're still back to the same abject poverty that you've been experiencing before you sold the land. Is that not true?
Yeah, if I can chip in again, sorry, I know Mr. Manja, we're running out of time, but this is all about our people's lack of education awareness. There are people in the Gambia who know how this lease system works. So most of the buildings and lands you'll find in Banjul, they're on leasehold. And for them, like you said, you can actually pay rent to them. So they know that mechanism and they use it. Our people don't know it. So when you sell land to somebody like Mustafa Njai again, he will run to the courts and he is going to turn this lease into a freehold. But you're not even aware that you have a choice to sell your land on leasehold. You're not even aware because they do not know. Our people do not know. They can sell their land on leasehold. So when they sell their land to these people, they don't know. They don't know they have options. So that's where we need to come in to educate them to say, if you sell your land, tell them maximum is 99 years. After 99 years, this land come back to my folks, my people who are going to be born after me. So there's a lot of things we need to do. Yeah, most of this work got to do with our people. You got to remember, we come a very, very poor community. Our people are poor. So the leave of 1 million, 17 million, like you said in Pirang, people will take the money. But if we divide that money amongst the clan elders, let's say a clan of, let's say, 50 elders, and they take the bulk of the money, So if you come to once the generation below them, the generation after those people, it's nothing left.
Yeah,
so all of them within 1 month, they got no money left. It's nothing left. So we need to educate them to say, don't sell your land only on freehold, sell it on leasehold. So we got a lot of things to do. I know Mr. Manjang is, we're running out of time now, but I know he's getting interested. But we'll schedule another one next Saturday.
One more interesting as we go. There is another program. I think it's about an hour ago, but I think we've been sitting here for quite a while. Thank you all very much anyway for your time, and hope this will continue and probably will also expand, where we can have just like the Monday one. But this one specifically, the land injustice and what is really facing our people. Thank you, Prof. That was a short invitation, and I think still early in the morning there where you are. We appreciate your time, and thank you, Dave, once again for actually initiating this conversation, which is very, very important. As you said, that is a first. He got land from my family. I can't do anything about it. I tried. I know the implications. And I hear him over here that they come to me, that they want to say, that's what the people of Combo have been doing. They're going to knock at his door, that they have a land to sell. So if people go out to say, okay, we have a land to sell, they're going to sell it at a giveaway price. So that's why we have a responsibility. That's why our parents send us to school. They leave us to go to school while they work on the farm, so that the mistakes they make, we don't make them. So if we continue to live like our parents, that means we are actually betraying the hopes and aspirations our parents put on us. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Is Mr. John back?